Show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Due to complications from internet out east, on Friday, we were unable to record our half-month show. We did it today. We recorded it today. This is all recorded, and so welcome to the show. Welcome to pACT. for this week. By the way, it's also a Monday. Not exactly when we usually hold our show. This Wednesday, I do not think we're going to have much of a show. We're probably going to pop on, do a couple things live, talk about a couple of the events that we got going on. After that, we're going to probably play this show again because this show is so important. This month, we are raising money for Stop Shaking Baby Syndrome. Very, 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 very important that you do not shake a baby. They are not. Look, they're fragile. Okay, they're very fragile. They're not. They're not meant to be shaken. As a guy who's spent the majority of his youth shaking my head into music, thinking that it was smart and fun, I guess I can kind of prove that you really should not shake a baby's head. So we've got Darcia Phillips on, who's going to be joining us first to talk about shaking baby. Darcy has got a very, very tragic story on why she got involved. Her sister was a shaken baby and did not make it. So Darcia has lived the pain of shaken baby syndrome. She is now the director of Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome. You can always go to visit them online at their website, stopshakenbabysyndromeinc.org. You can also find them on Facebook at Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome. Okay. When we get back, in between Darcia and the Goddess of the Grape, we are going to tell you about the new event that is coming up. Yay! The next of our 22-hour podcasts. We did it on February 22nd, 2022. We are doing it on February 22nd of 2023. We will do it on February 22nd, 2024. God willing, I'm alive. But it's about our veterans. It's about them. Oops, sorry about that. There you can see Darcia. It's about our veterans, and it's about the end of life decision that 47 of them are making every day. I will give you more information about that after this interview. This is Darcia Phillips, the director of Stop Shaken Baby. There's a lot of great information here, so I'm going to ask you to please, please, please pay attention to this. Guys, if you're expecting your first child, please listen to this. As a natural father to two, I made plenty of mistakes with my sons. I got lucky. My boys never got hurt. I'm just going to come right out and say it. I probably shouldn't have been as rough with them. And there's a lot of times that you don't think you're doing anything wrong. All you're trying to do is try to figure things out. Please remember, these are fragile human beings. So be very careful. If you know somebody who helps people get through the stress, maybe a baby's going full bore, and mom or dad just needs a break. If you know somebody who can offer that break, please contact us. 970-909-0751. 970-909-0751. We'll add it to the Facebook page, and it'll be there as a resource for you. always be there. Uh, we'll also have it in our database of places where you can go and find help, because that's what you know. That's what this is all about. Look, these are delicate, delicate, delicate lives. A baby is more fragile than an egg. Um, Personal experience. You don't you don't want to have to experience what happens when a baby gets damaged. Baby's still a baby. You're still going to love it. It's still going to be one of the most important things in your life. But a momentary reaction, a negative momentary reaction, can not only change your life, but can change that baby's life forever. My guest, Dorcia Phillips, has, as I said, many, many experiences trying to help people, and we want to continue helping them. Every time you buy a bottle of wine from One Hope Wines during the month of November, a portion goes to Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome. Here's my guest, Dorcia Phillips. We'll be back after this with the Goddess of the Grape and some more information about the community mission to rescue 22. Maybe. How are you doing? We've got our great friend Dorcia Phillips from Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome joining us again on the November wine event. How are you doing, Dorcia?
I'm doing good. How are you, Zach?
Doing great, doing great. You're in the eastern part of the country. Have you guys got any of that snow? We know that, of course, like Buffalo and other places they're under about 6 foot of snow. So we mentioned earlier our best wishes to them. But have you guys had any of that?
No, the other day we did get a light dusting. I don't think in my area it didn't amount to even an inch. So I'm grateful for that. Snow is not my friend.
Yeah. You know what?
Sure, we'll
You
get
got
a lot
about the
more.
same snow we got. Yeah. Yeah, you got about the same snow that we got. So, but it's kind of funny. Everybody thinks, Colorado, we're going to be buried in snow. We don't usually get a
No.
whole lot. The mountains get it, and the mountains kind of take and they filter over us because we're so close to the mountains. And then further east in Colorado, they just get demolished, and then Kansas gets hit and everything else. But yeah, here in Greeley, we kind of get protected by the mountains. So, and I'm like you, snow's not my friend. I don't put sticks on my feet. I can barely walk in my big shoes. So, my clown shoes are close enough to being skis. But so, okay, well, Dorcia, let's go on ahead and get this started. Can you tell us, for those who were not able to join us, the first show, can you tell us about Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome? How did this start?
This started back in 2009. I wasn't a part of it back then. And basically what it was is our founder learned about a case of a child who was shaken and killed. And then she wanted to help. So she started it back in 2009, and it's been running ever since. What we do is we try to help the families who are affected, of course. We've done a lot of things in the past, and we're hoping to do a lot more in the future. Currently, we have programs that are directly for the survivors, and that we're also working on education programs and the whole bit. So we're trying. We're getting there.
You mentioned that you mentioned that you guys have stuff that you want to do, but you're not able to do yet. What are some of those things? Because I know that it's not, this is really one of those things that you guys try to help with medical equipment and even stuff such as, you know, mental health for the parent, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
what all do you guys try to provide?
Well, right now we have support groups on Facebook, which really takes care of the mental health aspect because it's only the people who are directly affected, those who have lost children, or those who are foster parents or adoptive parents, or even the biological parents themselves can join. And it's nothing is taboo. We talk about everything. We talk about problems with the case management, the investigation process, you know, family relationships, everything goes on in the support groups. We also talk about how to get services for the parents, for the children, and how to best support not only the child, but the families themselves with everything that goes on, because it's very taxing for some people to be the sole provider for the child while they have a spouse or significant other working outside the home, or they're the only provider. It's a lot. And that so the support group kind of takes care of all that. We also do, if people request it, we'll actually get on the phone with them, or a Zoom meeting or Skype or whatever, to talk to them. I was actually on the phone over the weekend with a mother who lost her child this past week, so I talked to her for quite a while. It's not uncommon for us to do that. And that when outside of offering just emotional support, we do have our programs like the currently going on now is our apparel for iPad, which we sell apparel, and the money we raise from that, we go ahead and we purchase Apple iPads and protective cases, and we send them out to the survivors. These iPads will help them with lots of things, from therapy to educational to speech, you name it, you can work it with an iPad. I also have the Switch It Up program, which takes toys and adapts them for children to play with a Switch, which is basically you take like a stuffed animal that like you push the hand and it sings and dances, and that, well, most survivors don't have the hand control to press that little button. So we make it so that there's a bigger button that they can press and they can get the toy to play. As far as the educational aspect goes, we have the Sweet Pea Project, which is sending out bags to new parents with hats and educational material. I also do educational classes to schools, which we do. I think the last time I did it was a Skype or Zoom conference, and I provided them with a slideshow and did some Q&A and the whole bit, talked to the kids about it. So we did that. What we would like to do is offer more is the bigger stuff, like helping the families fundraise for things like wheelchair accessible vehicles, for equipment inside the house, like a lift, or remodels for therapy rooms or bathrooms, things like that, just to make the day-to-day life easier for the parents and the child themselves. We aren't at that point yet to be able to do that. We're hoping that we can get bigger and more funding and even grants to help us with that. But we're doing what we can on the small scale currently.
You guys also have a shirt in which I'm showing some of the shirts that are that you guys have available, but you guys also have a shirt that is very, very, very important, and it's got a list of I believe you call it the Angel.
Yes, our bonfire shirts. That's currently our apparel for iPads. On the front of our shirt this year, we have a scroll that lists, I think last count was 200 names of surviving victims. And then it says, shaken baby syndrome is not only is unnecessary child abuse, it's also wrong. And then on the back, we have an angel. And that represents 40 children who have lost their lives due to complications of shaken baby. Some of those children died immediately after injury, and some of them lived to be 5 years old, 7 years old. Some were adults, but they ultimately died as a direct result of being shaken. And all the money that we raise from that sale will go to purchase iPads for survivors.
Okay. Um, what is your advice? Because what you just said, what we just talked about on the babies dying is something that this isn't a scare tactic. This is a realism. Shaking a baby can be the death of your child.
Correct.
Is there And it looks like I'm having a little bit of a problem here. Let's see if I can pull it back on. If not, I'm going to have to start this recording all over, which is isn't powerful enough for another program. So yeah, it's trying to tell me that my green screen caused a crash. So I'm going to tell you something. It is beyond aggravating. And I want to, babe, I want to give, I want to give a couple people in Greeley thanks right now. We've got a couple people who are coming up and they're donating, and that's exactly what we need because we have had some people call and ask us for help. Again, I want to thank all the people who are giving us their immediate attention. There are people who are already dropping stuff off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to take you back to the video with Darcia. I'm hoping that this was going to pick up about where we were. I was in a conversation when I saw it died. So here we go. Let's try this.
Well, most survivors don't have the hand control to press that little button. So we make it so that there's a bigger button that they can press and they can get the toy to play. As far as the educational aspect goes, we have the Sweet Pea Project, which is sending out bags to new parents with hats and educational material. I also do educational classes to schools, which we do. I think the last time I did it was a Skype or Zoom conference, and I provided them with a slideshow and did some Q&A and the whole bit, talked to the kids about it. So we did that. What we would like to do is offer more the bigger stuff, like helping the families fundraise for things like wheelchair accessible vehicles, for equipment inside the house, like a lift, or remodels for therapy rooms or bathrooms, things like that, just to make the day-to-day life easier for the parents and the child themselves. We aren't at that point yet to be able to do that. We're hoping that we can get bigger and more funding and even grants to help us with that. But we're doing what we can on the small scale currently.
You guys also have a shirt in which I'm showing some of the shirts that are that you guys have available, but you guys also have a shirt that is very, very, very important, and it's got a list of I believe you call it the Angel.
Yes, our bonfire shirts. That's currently our apparel for iPads. On the front of our shirt this year, we have a scroll that lists I think last count was 200 names of surviving victims. And then it says, shaken baby syndrome is not only is unnecessary child abuse, it's also wrong. And then on the back, we have an angel. And that represents 40 children who have lost their lives due to complications of shaken baby. Some of those children died immediately after injury, and some of them lived to be 5 years old, 7 years old. Some were adults, but they ultimately died as a direct result of being shaken. And all the money that we raise from that sale will go to purchase iPads for survivors.
Okay. What is your advice? Because what you just said, what we just talked about on the babies dying is something that this isn't a scare tactic. This is a realism. Shaking a baby can be the death of your child.
Correct.
Is there one of the questions that somebody asked me is there a group of people that are more than are there a group of people that is more apt to shake their baby financially, racially? Is there anything? Are there any group of people that they're more apt to shaken baby syndrome?
There's no demographic that shows us that there's any significance as far as race, religion, sex, financial status that will be more prominent to being a victim of shaken baby. In our cases, within our own support groups, we have seen it be some as political officials, congressmen have had their children that were shaken. There was a case where the child was actually shaken in the hospital. The baby was only 12 hours old. So there's really no rhyme to reason to it. The only thing that we have noticed within the stats is that, and it's only a very small margin of difference, is that it's more male offenders than female offenders.
Yeah.
But that's a very small margin of difference. So it can really be anybody.
Is the reason it's male, in your opinion? I mean, this is actually one of those questions where it's got to be your opinion, because there's probably not a lot of scientific fact behind it. But do you think it's more male because the men don't carry the child, so they don't have that same connection? Is in your thoughts, is this one of the reasons why there are more men? Like you said, there's not a huge split, but
There's not. I think it all depends. I know in my own experience that it doesn't seem to make a difference who you are. It's more what your patience level is. I know I've seen some men that have patience of a saint that can handle a lot of crying and, just difficult behaviors. And then I've seen some women that have that same patience level, but then on the flip side, they don't. So I think for stat aspect in that, I think the reason we see it being more men that cause this is because men, the general consensus is that men are the hunter-gatherers of society, and that so they have to be the ones in control all the time. And when you have a child that is being difficult, crying or whining, or you can't figure out what they want or what they need, they kind of lose it a little bit more quickly, and they don't realize what they're doing. So they will try to pacify the child and think, okay, if I just do this, the baby will stop crying. When in reality, normally it makes the baby cry more. And then they don't know what to do, and they just literally they lose every ounce of control they have. And then it's too late.
What is your suggestion
When
to prevent shaken baby?
I always say if your child is crying, and people say there's no way you can do it. I was like, if your child is crying, take your child, put your child in the crib. The crib, pack and play, playpen, whatever you want to call it, is often very secure. There's nothing in there. Make sure you don't have any pillows or blankets or stuffed animals, in the crib, and just put them down. Lay them down. And then if you have to, close the door, walk away, take a breather, sit outside the door if you want, have a coffee, make yourself tea, whatever it takes. And then after a couple minutes, if you get yourself collected, walk in, see if the child's still crying. If the child's still crying and you don't feel like you can do this, okay, the baby's not in any danger. You can see that you're still in the crib. There's nothing they could get hurt on. Turn around, walk right back out. Do the same thing again. If after 10 minutes or so you're still feeling like you can't do this, I want you to go back in, check on the baby as many times as you have to make sure that baby's okay. But then pick up your phone, call your doctor's office, call your mom, call your grandmother, call your neighbor, your friend, whoever you could think of to call, and say, listen, I'm here with this child. They're crying. I don't know what's wrong. I've tried all these things and the baby's still crying. What do I do? And if you can't get anybody on the phone, take the baby, put the baby in a car seat, get in the car and drive to the nearest doctor or hospital and say, I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. The baby has been crying for a long period of time. I don't know what's wrong. Help me. If you ask a medical professional or even just anybody, say, I need help, they will help you. They will help you to figure out what's wrong with the baby. And nobody is going to fault you for saying, I need help. It's very important to just let the baby be. And then ask for the help.
One of the things that I found out as being a dad is generally when I put the child in a car seat, that was the quickest way to get him to sleep. And
yes,
and the one thing that we have to say this, and look, a lot of times shaken baby is not intentional. It strikes and it happens. But even the smallest jolt, the head, you got to remember that a head injury, and this is coming from somebody who deals with the head injury, head injuries are not like anything else. You break an arm, you put a cast on it, it's going to heal. Head injuries are not like that.
And it's
one person's head injury is nothing to somebody else, but it's death to someone else. So
yes,
you were going to say something?
It's important to remember with infants, especially, their heads aren't developed yet. Their neck muscles aren't there. And that's what happens is when you shake a child, you pick them up by the rib cage, more or less, and you shake them back and forth, their head bounces back and forth in the skull, which is what causes the bleeding, because the brain is so soft and pliable, which is going to cause irreparable damage. And while the brain is a lot of things, and there's so much that we don't understand about it, there's a lot that we do understand. And it doesn't take a lot to understand that it's really not a good ratio as to whether or not you're going to be 100% okay, even from just a little jolt. You're going to have some kind of injury. You're going to have some kind of damage. That's why it's always best to just say, okay, I have to put you down, or I have to walk away.
One of the things that I really wanted to share off of your website is this page, What is Shaken Baby Syndrome? And the reason I wanted to share this is because if you look on here, each one says primarily the same thing, but each of these institutions have a different way of stating what it is. There are there are so many, different aspects of so many different. First off, great organizations on here: Mayo Clinic, National Institute for Neurology Disorders, and strokes. That one is, personal to me, again, because I have the head injury in my, but I mean, there are so many things that you can look on here. If you don't understand what shaken baby is, maybe you don't know exactly how to respond to it, or even if you're doing something wrong. So go here and check it out. Um, One of the other questions is there anything that you guys need, supplies, equipment, stuff like that, other than monetary? Is there anything else that you guys need right now that people can get to you?
I have several wish lists, if you would, that I have on like Amazon. I have them on Target, Walmart, and things like that we can take like in-kind donations. What we look for is, right now what we're doing is a lot of things for like therapeutic, but play therapy. I take a lot of toy donations, which I end up getting the toys, like I said, adapted for switches. I actually have a local school to me that teenage boys, they're normally juniors and seniors, will adapt the toys for me. And I take anywhere between 10 to 15 toys up every 2 to 4 weeks, and they go through and they adapt them. For our outreach efforts, we are always looking for people who can knit or crochet infant and baby hats. And that's real help, because that goes into our bags that we send out to the hospitals and resources like that for new parents. We give them a small little gift for their infants. We're always looking for new ideas if people have them as to what they can do or offer. I got in a lot of book donations this year. Some of the books are touch and feel, and that some of them deal with things like feeding tubes or speech delays and things like that. So those are things that will go out into the community for people to read and share with those in their community to help them understand the survivor. And that, so there's a lot of different ways people can help and do things like that. I've never been opposed to trying new things, and that, so if somebody has an idea or just something that they aren't sure of but they think might help and they want to just reach out to us, that's fine too. Otherwise, my best thing to do is to look at the big websites, like I said, Amazon. We have if you type in "Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome," you will see the wish list that we have for there. And anything that is donated to us goes right back into the community, whether it's monetary or if it's an actual item. It will go right back into the community. Most of the time it goes into the survivors or education is what we use it for.
What do we do if we hear about a parent that's in distress? Are there any resources to them? Are there any resources to us as a concerned individual? Are there any resources that we can go to?
If you have immediate concern that a child is in immediate danger, I always say to call Childline or your local children's agency for protection and let them know. Most of the time they will investigate, and if it's not something that they feel is an immediate threat that they need to remove the child, they will offer services. They will offer counseling. They will offer, support services that way. Sometimes they will take the children. It could be a short period of time that they take the children, or it could actually be a situation where they have to take custody and they need to do it now to protect the child. Those cases get a little bit more tricky as to whether or not the parents will get the children back. It all depends. It takes 2, sometimes 3 years for that to play out. I always say, though, when in doubt, make the call, because you could very likely save a child's life. If you don't know how to get in touch with Child Protective Services in your area, call the cops and tell them, because If they investigate, which they should, and they see the problem and they feel it's a viable threat, they will call the local child protective services and they will get those children taken out of the house immediately. As far as what you can do to help somebody, just be there for them, be the ear. If they say, I just need a break, okay, give them that break. It could be simple as you bringing them a cup of coffee and saying, okay, I'm going to sit with the kids for a couple minutes. Why don't you go take a shower? Why don't you go run this errand? Whatever it is, those couple minutes could make a lifetime of difference. Don't be afraid to offer the help. Don't be afraid to say, okay, I don't know anything about what you're going through, but I'm here. Let me take a turn. Let me just sit with the kids so you can walk away and do what you have to do to get your head on straight, to give you a mental break. That will be a big help too.
Are there any resources, and you and I talked about this the firm that I met you, which was our very first podcast, as a matter of fact. Are there any resources for new parents? Or is there anything, for first-time parents, for somebody who, look, this is the best journey you're ever going to take, but it is not an easy one. And especially when you add, a little baby that, guess what? They're going to cry. That's how they communicate. When you're not used to it and that happens, you're kind of like, oh my God. And of course, the first thing is, what am I doing wrong? Or what the hell is wrong with you? What are there any resources that like new parents should seek out?
I think resources, it just all depends on where you're located, because there's so many places that will do education for shaken baby in the hospital every time a child is born. And there are other places where it's only when you have your first child. And then there's places where they don't do anything at all. I know in my experience that when a person where I live has a child, they will bring in literature on what shaken baby is. And there might be a video for you to watch the first time you have a child. And they will leave the stuff with you and say, okay, watch this, read this. When I come back in, I'll ask you if you watched it and sign off on it. They don't sit there with you to make sure that you actually did it. They don't ask you any questions about it. It's just like, okay, we have to present this to you. If you do it, you don't. That kind of thing. There are other places where they actually take the initiative to do more with you and get you to actually understand it. I think what we need is we need to have kind of like you have the availability of taking a Moz class. I think what we need is to have somebody that goes in and says, okay, this is going to be a quick parenting one-on-one.
Did I lose you?
Okay, we're there. We need somebody that does a parenting one-on-one, saying like, okay, this is what to expect with the baby. And that these are the things that you could do. These are places where you can reach out to get help, because it varies so much by where you live. And that I always tell people that a good source of information is to look to your doctor, your medical professional. They will know where you can get local help. There are some agencies within the maternal and family health services that will be able to say, okay, we have in-person meetings every Tuesday that you come to and you can discuss what's going on with the baby. Some libraries offer like mom and talk classes or parent and talk classes where you can just come in, be around people who have the same situation as you do. They have a young child. You talk with them, you read stories, whatever, you just connect with them. I think what you have to do, though, is unfortunately you have to do a lot of the research on your own based on where you live. And you have to figure out what's going to work for you. Some people can't get around with their community and that they don't know, they don't trust people in that. So that's going to be harder for them. It's going to be more limited to them. But you have to find out, even if all you do is talk to your doctor, say, okay, This is my first time. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of scared. What do I do? If the baby starts to cry, I have a couple ideas of what I could do, but what do I do if this doesn't work? And again, just ask for the help. Anybody you see, just ask them. I'm sure if you walk down the street and that or your neighbor next door and you say, I need a minute, can you come help me? They will say, okay. And they'll sit on the front porch with your child or whatever, just so you can have that minute to get your bearings. Like I said, unfortunately, though, there's no straight across the board answer for this. You have to do the research.
I think, and again, this is opinion. This isn't science. It's not fact. It is opinion. But I think one of the things, that a lot of people kind of forget is that a baby, like an animal, like everything else, can feel the stress of mom and dad. And that could be one of the starters of all this. If mom and dad is really stressed out, yeah, the baby is just going to be like going, oh my God, what the hell's wrong with them? This isn't the person I know. This isn't the person I love. And stress brings on stress.
It does. And what a lot of people don't realize is the only reason a baby is crying is because that's all they know how to do. That's their natural instinct, is to cry, because they don't have language skills. So they cry, and then it's up to us to figure out what they need, what they want, which is frustrating on our end because we don't always have those answers.
Right. And the one thing that people really need to realize is that if one of the bad things about shaken baby, one of the bad results is, there's a potential that, you shake your baby because of frustration, you hurt your baby, and that baby may never be able to talk. And then that's just going to compound. It's just going to continue. So like she's saying, you've got to reach out to other people. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about real quick was they spent very little time when we went through the fostering programs. They spent very little time on shaken baby syndrome. And I think that is, looking back on it now, and especially now, I think it's a little, I think that's a little short-sighted of them, because this is such a serious problem. We've got friends like our mutual friend who was taken in and in creating a safe harbor for shaken baby. That's how we originally met. But there was very little that was mentioned about that. I know that there are programs out there for foster parents who are going through stressful times. So please look up newborn groups. Let's look on Facebook, and I'll guarantee you can find newborn parents, and all these other things that you can.
There's a lot of groups on Facebook for moms, or it's geared towards moms. But in my experience, if a dad really wanted to, he could get into the group too, to, say, okay, mom's not really in the picture. I'm doing this on my own. I need some help too. And you know what? You're going to be looked at as, okay, we applaud you for stepping up and taking that initiative. We will let you join. We will, help you on this journey too. And that there's a lot of Facebook groups that are there for new parents. There's some that are specific for the area. There are some that are just all over the place. So do look on Facebook, because Facebook has a lot of support groups for new moms, for new families, and the whole bit. I don't want to say it's a great source, because it is the internet, but you will find some support groups there.
Yeah, and this, I like speaking to the guys on this because, I kind of know something about being a guy, kind of. I'm a terrible guy, but I know a little bit about it. But guys, this is another thing. If you got a buddy that comes to you and asks you these questions, please don't joke around with this one. Don't sit there and go, look at this, you can't handle. Look, we're talking about a child that could be in danger here if you don't sit there and take this real. as guys, we have a tendency to take a moment of weakness and turn it into a joke. This is not a joke. This is one of those things we cannot joke about, because we may think it's funny. We may think that, I got this guy. This guy's sitting there really struggling. So, guys, you got to, let's not, this is not a time to joke around. Let's really help people. Darcy, I got one more for you, and this is this was an online question. Do you have a current a goal in mind? If we put it 1 year today, okay, what would you guys like to see happen with your program?
Oh, that's such a hard question. 1 year from today, I think our biggest goal, in all honesty, is to be able to have the most effect is to help as many families as we can. And we do a fairly good job at that in the support group for providing, like you said, the mental support. I would like to be able to see us help maybe 5 families get something big, or some kind of monetary stipend to help them reach a goal, even if it's just to make a repair on their van so they could get the child to and from appointments or out into the community or something like that. If we can help 5 families with something like that to make transportation a little bit easier, or to make daily care easier for the child, I think that would be wonderful. But again, we can't do it on our own. We're doing a lot, and we are so grateful for.
We lost her again real quick, but while her internet is reconnecting, I do want to remind you guys that this right here, this code, if you purchase wine this month using this code here, you will be supporting Stop Shaking Baby. A portion of that will go to the mission, and it will help them with what they're doing. As Darcy had mentioned, they've got things like trying to buy equipment and other things. I know for a fact, I have been I have seen firsthand some of the great things that they do with resources, with help, with counseling. It's such a wonderful, wonderful program. And I want you to make sure that you understand, if you go to stopshakingbabysyndrome.org, or sorry, stopshakingbabysyndromeinc.org. If you go there, you will find, first off, the first thing that you're going to see is a bunch of beautiful, beautiful children who are on here that they've been shaken. They've been shaken. They've been hurt. But this shows that, oh, look at my non-shaken baby here. All right, we're being joined again by Darcia. So, but yeah, if you go onto the website, you can see the pictures of some of these wonderful, wonderful kids that have survived. But you got to remember, they're not all success stories. It's an unfortunate fact. So please, 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 Shaken Baby Syndrome Inc.org. Go and visit it. Look around. Support them. Buy your holiday wine, and you can support everything that they are doing. Sorry about the technical difficulties there, Darcia. I'm so glad that you were able to join us again. But do they? One of the other questions that was asked real quick, and I think this one's a really interesting question, because it's something that you would never really think of. Professionals who deal with shaken baby syndrome, do you guys have a place where you can go and talk to each other? Because I know for a fact that when we get to a situation where we've got somebody that we really, really want to help, and we know we can't do everything that we're everything that they need. I know how hard that is on us. What do you guys do in a situation like that? Because you have the reason, your why for being in this is tragic.
Yes.
You guys have a resource that you guys can go to when you are feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe we can't do anything?
In the professional aspect, there are support groups for nonprofits all over the internet. We can reach out to them. For the personal aspect of me being here, because it's my life, I am directly affected by it. I have other board members I can talk to that understand. I have the support groups which I run that I can reach out and talk to the people in there about. But generally speaking, with this nonprofit, and that there's not as many nonprofits out there for it, so there's not many people that understand the reason that we do what we do. But I think in the long term, in that there's enough of support through the community, and that if I had a problem, and that I couldn't reach out to certain people within the community and say, listen, this is how I'm feeling. Help me out. Let's talk this through, and we'd be okay. I mean, I think we do a good job keeping our own mental health on an even keel within the nonprofit world. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. We all have our good days and our bad days, and some days are really, really bad. But we keep pushing because we have to. Because we are one of I think we are the only nonprofit for Shake and Bake.
Okay. Looks like we've lost her again for hopefully just for. Oh, here she is. Okay, great.
Most nonprofits for Shake and Baby are about education and lobbying for we need. Don't get me wrong, we need that, but there's not. As far as I know, we're the only ones that offer the support to the families.
Well,
so
Darcia, I want
to our world.
I want to thank you so very much for joining us, and I want you to. I personally just want to say thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I know how passionate you are. If anybody wants to hear Darcia's story on her why, please visit our first show. She talks about it a little bit. It's very, like I said, it's heart-wrenching. And but Shaken Baby this is not something that has to happen, okay? And the other thing is that you may not think that you're hurting the child, but you need to remember the smallest jolt. Look, you're talking about something that's even more fragile than an egg here. So the smallest jolt can do a lot of damage. So please visit Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome Inc.org. Parents, if you have any questions, please reach out to Darcia. Darcia, how do they get a hold of you? We're having a little bit of a delay, it looks like. Darcia, how do they get a hold of you? Okay.
Or if you want, you can email me at stopsbs1 stopsbs1.
Okay, so stop SBS1.
I'm putting the chat here for you. Stop.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and then we'll just put it in there. But I want to thank you very much for what you're doing.
And then on Facebook, it's
okay. So right here, and again, we're very sorry about the connections. Got to remember there are weather issues out there. But right here is the email if you want to get a hold of her in this way. And then on Facebook, you just go to Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome. Give them a like, give them a follow. Check out everything that they're suggesting. There's great, you can probably find some other parents who've gone through some of the things that you're going through. So if you need help, that's a great place to start. Darcy, I thank you very much. I look forward to working with you guys a lot more, hopefully here in the very near future. But please, from us to you, keep up the great work, and let's stop shaken baby syndrome. Thank you very much. Okay. I did a little bit of research while that was recording, and I want to put this up. Don'tShake.org, family resources. So there's in the name right here, it says 99 support groups. So if you know somebody who is struggling with shaken baby, if you know somebody who's stressed out, if you know somebody who just needs a little something, needs a little help. I mean, it only takes a moment. And in that moment, you can hurt a baby. You can hurt a baby really, really bad. Go to don'tshake.org/family resources/item/99 support groups. See what they got in there. I don't know exactly what they have in there, but I'm going to guarantee you they're going to have something in there that can help you. I'm going to try to put my green screen back on here real quick. We'll see what happens. I never know. Well, first I'm going to do this. Coming up February 22nd, year 2 of Community Mission to Rescue 22. It's a 22-hour podcast aimed at trying to help our veterans. They give up time, they give up family time, they give up personal time. No matter if it's wartime, peacetime, doesn't matter. They leave their home to serve our country. They give of themselves so we can enjoy a life of freedoms. It is time that we support them. Right now it was reported that 47 a day are taking their lives. 47 a day. Said it before, I'm going to say it again. This is hard to say. By December 31st, 2024. Sorry, by December 31st, 2023. January 1st, 2024. If this number does not go down, that is over 19,000 of our heroes that take their own lives. Conversations must be started. We have to learn how to responsibly talk to individuals who are struggling with this. We have to figure out how to work with them. We have to figure out how to work within ourselves. Not everyone is capable of this conversation. You need to realize You might not be the right person for a conversation, but there is always something you can do. Join us on February 22nd from 2 a.m. Mountain, 4 a.m. Eastern, until midnight Mountain, as I sit right here for 22 hours having discussions with people all over the country, people of different ages, people of different services, people of different backgrounds, and people who have different stories, who want to tell the same who want to tell the same thing. They want to tell hope is out there. We're going to hear stories that are heartbreaking. We're going to hear stories that are roll on the ground funny. We're going to tell people about those who have found hope and those who never did. But the main thing about this is that we want to talk to you about how we can start a story and knock 47 down. We got to knock that number down. $47 a day is it's hard to fathom. Please make sure you join us on February 22nd. Please dedicate at least 22 minutes of that day to joining us and finding out more on a community mission to rescue 22. Well, that was intense. Stop shaking baby syndrome. I'm going to say it again. I said it a couple times in that recording. If you don't know about shaken baby syndrome, I encourage you to please go to their website and find out more. This is not, as she said, this isn't something that happens in between. It's not one culture that does it more than another. It's not rich people, poor people. This is something that, accidentally you can change a child's life, ergo change your own life, because all it takes is a little shake and you're going to hurt a baby. And we don't need that. So I'm being joined now by the goddess of the grave, Stephanie. How are you?
Hi, Zach. I'm doing well. How about you?
Well, we're doing great now that we can actually talk. That whole internet thing, it's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes.
So sorry, you guys. So sorry.
Oh, absolutely not. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Stephanie, there were a couple things that were said in there. We asked her a couple questions, like the one that I really liked was, and this was one of your questions: are there resources for professionals? I think it's a great question, because that is one thing that I've actually talked to doctors, I've talked to other lawyers before, because when we, and I say this and I don't mean to sound, I don't mean to try to put more importance on me than there should be, but when we lost Riley, when Riley lost his battle to PKAN, I was crushed. I mean, it was like losing a nephew. It was terribly, terribly hard, because we'd gotten to know the family. We've gotten to know, you know, we got to know Riley really
Right.
well. An 11-year-old boy, and he loses his life to a disease. It's really hard for somebody who tries to help other people. It's really hard to understand how difficult that can be. And so I really appreciated your question, because it's one of those things that you can have the intention to want to help anybody and everybody as much as possible. But there's got to be a time, and that's one of the reasons why some of the other groups that we've been bringing on recently with taking care of caregivers, why they're so important, because burnout is dangerous. But
It's a real
what
thing. Yeah.
yeah, what and I know you haven't had a chance to look through the entire interview. You've been crazy busy. But was there anything that you heard that really that touched a nerve with you?
Um, what was so interesting was that, which you kind of touched on, but she said, males and females are the culprit of this. There's not, one way or the other. So it's not just the mom, it's not just the father. Maybe it's a caregiver stepping in even to care for your child, which I mean, and that bothers me a lot. You really need to know who you're leaving your children with. I do realize that it is a journey when you have a child. It is life changing. I have my own, all came with different challenges of their own. And of course, there's an adjustment period. Plus, as the mom, you're going through things, you've got the pregnancy weight gain, your hormones are all over the place. You bring a brand new baby home that's screaming, you're not quite sure how to care for yet. You can definitely get stressed out, lack of sleep, all those things. But just knowing, what to do with putting the baby in the crib, make sure there's no toys, no pillows, no, big fluffy blankets in there. Just put the baby in the crib, walk away, give yourself a break, go have that hot cup of coffee that you've been wanting to have. Right. Really, really important. I didn't get to see her response on the resources, unfortunately, but I did have a thought after we met the last time. And I thought to myself, in the hospital, there are resources, right, to help the new mom's nurse. There are those lactation specialists that they hook you up with, right? Is it so far of a stretch to say that there's probably resources in the hospital or ones that they could direct you to, for that transition? If you are struggling and having a hard time with the transition, is there a group that you can reach out to, or a group of caregivers that you can say, hey, listen, I need help. Can I hire you to come to my home and give me a break for a couple of hours a week? So I'm curious from you, Zach, what was her response on that? And do you think that that's a good direction for people to go in, if they are in that situation?
See, I think that I think asking for help is something that is so underrated, and I think it's also something that every single one of us are guilty of it. Every once in a while we take it as too much of a hassle. Well, I don't want to bother somebody else. Stop thinking that way. If you have to bother somebody else rather than hurt a child, and this one is so, as I've mentioned, this one is so personal to me because I know a shaken baby, and I've seen the struggles that this child has went through. I've seen the first 3 years of his life. He spent half of it in the children's hospital. I see, I see all kinds of things with this wonderful young man, and and it's just, this was one of those cases where the shaking went too far. Okay. But the biggest difficulty is it's not, who's to say it wasn't the first little jiggle that caused the most of the damage? You don't know. And for caregivers, in which now I'm in that field, I think it's really important to be able, and as parents, we're caregivers. Okay. we're either insane or we're caregivers, one of the two, and usually we're caregivers because we're insane. um, but I think that there ought to be groups out there that really support each other. And what I kind of brought up is, I'll bet you if we looked on Facebook, in which I should have looked it up before I connected with you, I'll bet you we could find a Shaken Baby forum. But I would also like to take and invite anybody right now that if you run a forum to help professionals and novices like some of us, deal with, because it is hard not, it's really hard to help somebody and not take that in, take it onto yourself. It's really hard to where it used to, it used to take and I used to make myself so miserable because I felt like I didn't do enough. And I still do. I'll be honest with you. I still feel that way all the time. I could make $1 million and I'd be pissed off I didn't make the other 32 cents. Not that I've ever made $1 million. Don't get me don't get me wrong there. But and yeah, I think that we really need to, I think we need to start focusing on some of these care groups and stuff like that. And one of the things that I brought up, Stephanie, and I don't know if you heard this, was and this is as a guy, okay, this is the guy culture. We have a tendency to sit there and I'm just going to say it. If we have some guy walk up to us and say, can you come over and help me? My kid is driving me nuts. I don't know what the hell's going on. We, as guys, have a tendency to go, suck it up, buttercup,
Right. Like, man up, go deal with it. You got it. Yeah. Go take care of your stuff.
This is what those time. Whoa, what the hell is going on there? This is one of those times, all right, you need to stop that now. This is one of those times that we need to realize that there could be a child in danger here.
Right.
Suck it up, buttercup's not going to work. Suck it up, buttercup is the wrong answer. Absolutely the wrong answer. And so, there could be, wow, I'm telling you, my computer, this computer is just not my friend right now. So
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. But, we need to be careful on this one because a concussion is bad as an adult. It could be devastating for a child.
Right.
And
any kind of brain bleed, just think, any kind of brain bleed, think about the implications of that, at any age. So when they're so small and fragile like that, any shake in the wrong direction, you got to protect their head and protect your sanity too. Really, ask for help. I think that is something that's really needed. Is the ask help?
And while you may never be on Dr. Phil's Parent of the Year because you walked away from your child, you're also not going to be on his worst person in the world because you shook your baby and you harmed that baby. And I think that I would much rather be known as a guy who's going to take and safely put my child down and walk away, rather than one of those guys that, oh my God, look what he did to his kid. So, for right now, I'm just going to turn this over to you while my camera goes on ahead and continues to do a funny thing. So why don't we let you go on ahead and tell us about some of these holiday wines.
Oh, yes. Let's totally dive in. So if you're watching this for the very first time, hello. My name is Stephanie Simoes. I am a cause entrepreneur with One Hope Wine. So what I do is I specialize in fundraising, gifting, private wine events, and wine delivery. And I am so excited to bring the Holiday Wine Club to you all today. Zach, oh, thank you. Even with being off camera, he's on point.
Well, I'm still
Um,
here. You just get to look at my still face. So
That's totally okay. So I thought it would be really fun to talk about Wine Club. You all know, if you've seen this before, you know that Wine Club is one of my favorite things. This happens to be our holiday curated wine club. Wine Club is one of my favorite things because you get all the perks. You get the discounts, you get the wine credits, you get the free shipping. Yes, I said it. Free shipping across the US with Napa Valley wines, which is crazy. So you get free shipping and it's flexible. So you get to, let's say, you're not a fan of the curated pack. Guess what? You could build your own 4, 6, or 12 pack and select your own picks, whether you like red, white, sparkling rosé, totally your choice. However, our head winemaker, Mari, is phenomenal. She curates the packs every quarter for the season. And this holiday curated wine club just launched. I think that it's perfect for the holidays. Let me say this going into this with the curated pack. Let's say you look at the pack and you say, wow, I love this lineup, but I wish that one was this wine instead. You have the flexibility of actually swapping out the bottles and there's no additional cost. So, to an extent, you can curate to your own liking the curated pack also. But let's dive in. Let's start with the Chardonnay, which in that photo is all the way to the left. Great for the holiday season. So this one is our Arroyo Seco Chardonnay, which is out of Monterey County. It comes as a wildly complex and unique wine filled with flavors of lemon, pineapple, sweet cream, and vanilla. With a higher acidity in this wine than our other Chardonnay wines, this bottle shines alongside sage butter halibut, toasted nuts, roasted sweet potato, hint, hint, think holiday, you guys. It is delicious with alfresco dinners on the patio or cozy meals at home. So this is a perfect pairing for the upcoming holidays. And if you like Chardonnay, definitely check that out. I was telling Zach too, when we were offline, I was going to mention, Zach, how I was talking about our Vintner Chardonnay. What were you going to ask?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, somebody who's never had a Chardonnay before, but is interested in trying it. I kind of am putting you on the spot here a little bit, but how would you explain, using maybe another wine to explain a Chardonnay? How would you compare them to other wines?
Let's see. Well, I will say that as I've tried,
It's not blueberry.
As I've tried our different Chardonnays and our different collections, they do vary a bit. I find. So I think it is really important if you are exploring on the website to definitely check out the tasting notes and look at the pairing suggestions too. See if it sounds like something you would enjoy. That's number one. Number two is what I would say is that Zach and I were talking offline before we jumped in and he said, ooh, Chardonnay. And I said, well, there are a lot of people who tend to not like Chardonnay. We use our Vintner collection Chardonnay for a lot of our in-person wine tastings. And I always encourage people to try it, even if they typically don't like Chardonnay. And here's why. Our winemaker, Mari, has different technique, I think, than some other wineries, right? So our Vintner collection is barreled in stainless steel and then finished in oak. So it's not the heavy, oaky, buttery Chardonnay that you would typically think of. It's a little bit more fruit forward than most. So I always say, sample it, give it a try. Try it alongside the food pairings that it suggests and see what you like from there. you know, I always say give it a try once at least and see how you feel about it.
Do
Everybody's palate is different, so
yeah.
it's hard to
Do the child vegetable thing. Try it before you say you don't like it.
Right, exactly. And you know, they did suggest some vegetables in the food pairings with this Chardonnay also. So I do think it's great to have around for the holiday season and on your table.
Perfect.
Let's jump in. I think your Wi-Fi is back, Zach. Are we doing better now?
I well, my camera's a little bit better. It's not going to. I don't know if you were seeing that, but I felt like I was in a 1930s film.
I did
So,
not see that. You looked clear, so that was good. We must be taking
okay. Well,
turns.
then I was just freaking out over nothing. So, okay.
We must be taking turns with the Wi-Fi issues.
I
We're
get,
passing it back
yeah.
and forth. So next,
So the next is this: wine is my love language. This is not just one bottle. This is a group, right?
right. So the red wine is what's in our curated wine club, but the love language is our newest launched collection. There is a Chardonnay, there's the red blend, and there is a rosé. It retails at $20, you guys, for Napa Valley wine, which is really incredible. So what that actually means is when you throw it into a case, you're just paying $16, and it's giving back twice too. Hooray. But this red wine, I find it fruitier and sweeter than our other red blend that we have. So this one has notes of cherry cola, allspice, and red fruit. And for some culinary pairings, you want to serve this alongside roasted red pepper pizza, empanadas, and beet hummus. So just to give you an idea, but it is definitely sweeter than our Vintner Collection red blend, for example. So sweeter side of the red. So you're getting a little bit of both sides here, because we'll move on to that Malbec in just a second, and you'll see that that's not as sweet as that red blend.
But the Malbec's really good. I'll just say that.
It's delicious. It's one of my top faves. I'll be honest. I'm glad you enjoyed it too, Zach, because I know you like really sweet usually, and I'm glad that you got to enjoy that one.
I did. I really like that one. I also like the Pinot you sent me. That was really good as well. So
yeah.
The next we've got is our not desert wine. No, it's our dessert wine.
So next up, yes, dessert wine. So this is a port style dessert wine. And so if you're familiar with ports, they are a really sweet, heavier red that, in my opinion, you serve just a little bit with dessert. Hard to have a full glass of those because of how sweet, and heavy the wine is. But this one has alluring flavors of toffee and tobacco, notes of florals, dark plum, and sweet cherry. Give this dessert wine all of this gives this dessert wine its tantalizing profile. So it is made in a style with origins in Portugal. This wine is fortified with grape spirits to capture the fruit and sugar from the grapes harvested at peak maturity. Pair this decadent dessert wine with a slice of rich cheesecake, a selection of dark chocolate truffles, or a sampling of blue cheese. Any of those sound good to you, Zach?
Well, yeah. I will say yeah. I definitely would say yeah. The one thing I'm kind of wondering about on that, okay, and I don't, please understand, I don't know what I'm talking about. It said tobacco.
Uh-huh.
That kind of threw me off there. You're talking about something sweet, and I don't know if maybe what they're talking about is like you can, when you walk near somebody who's smoking a pipe, they've got like that cherry tobacco that's got a really sweet smell to it. It actually has a really, and I'm trying to remember back from my smoking days here, okay, and we're talking over 17 years ago now. But anytime I would take and smoke a cherry tobacco, it was nice and smooth. Is that kind of what they're talking about, or is it going to taste like if you accidentally put your cigarette out in your soda and you go to take a drink and you know, I'm sorry, that's just horrible for me to ask.
So, right, we talk about like the three S's when it comes to sampling wines, right? You swirl, you sniff, like you stick your whole nose in that glass and you sip it. And so when it comes to the tasting profile, it's, you know, what they're picking up when they're swirling and sniffing. You know, it may not even be on the sip, may or may not be, but you know, definitely hints of tobacco is what was picked up with that. I'm curious now for you to kind of try it. But think about too, they also mentioned at the same time dark plum, sweet cherry. So kind of put that all together. Some people will pick up some, all, maybe none of of what is mentioned here. But I do feel like a lot of times they're pretty on point when it comes to tasting profile.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was kind of one of those weird things that, you know, you don't usually think tobacco when you think sweet. You know, it's not, you know, except for, like I said, cherry tobacco. You
Right.
know, it was always kind of a nice and smooth treat. You know, I mean, it really was. So,
I'm a hard person to ask about cigars and things like that.
yeah, you know what? I'm a terrible person about it now because I quit smoking, and I quit when I quit smoking. I was smoking 3 packs a day. Okay,
Wow.
so and I went from smoking 3 packs a day to where I smoke nothing, and it's really one of those things that I walk past somebody who's smoking, and I'm like, oh, that stinks.
So
So
I know that this is a total topic for another time, but kudos to you for, you know, kicking 3 packs a day. That's awesome. Good for you.
yeah, thank you. It was time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was time. So yeah, I would have been dead if I would have kept it up already. So, you know, but
You'll have to give that one a go and, you know, let me know what you pick up
I,
with the
I
tasting.
think I do want to try it sometime just to see, just to experience it, because you and I were talking about other things. You know, you were talking about how it's got a little bit of a thickness to it, and it sounds. It definitely, as we said about the Chardonnay, it's kind of one of those things that, you know what, try your vegetables. Well, let's
Right.
try this wine. As as you mentioned when on the pre-show, you know, I mean, it's kind of nice to understand what you're talking about before you start talking about it, and I think that's one of the greatest things about this show that you and I have created, that I get to learn these things. And you know, you were talking to a guy who I tried many different wines, and I'm like, oh God, no. Oh God, ooh, this one's blueberry. I like it. So,
I think it's fair to say that everybody has a different palate,
oh,
right?
absolutely.
Everyone tastes things differently. In fact, your taste buds do change every 2 weeks. So, you know, if you don't like
Yep.
something at one point and you have an opportunity to try it again, try it again. You don't know that, you know,
It's like
you
the
may
weather
enjoy
in
it in a different
Kansas. Yep, it's like the weather in Kansas. If you don't like it, wait a minute.
Right, right. I mean, and myself, we're human, right? So I
Mhm.
enjoy sampling all the different varietals that come out, like you said, so that I can help better explain them, and be able to kind of share my take on them. But do I love every single one? No. That's why we have more
Yeah,
than 50 wines on our website, though. So, you know,
yeah.
that's what's great about this, is that we can connect with people who want to support and, you know, find out what you typically enjoy, and we can kind of match up what we think as far as suggestions with what would work best for you. So, but I do
Well,
like this
as
pack because I feel like
yeah,
it covers your bubbly, it covers your whites, covers your reds, so you're kind of set with all the holiday dishes.
this really is a fascinating pack because of that. The next one is the one that we have already talked about a little bit, one that I have personally experienced. So I do know a little about this one, but it is the Malbec.
I love this Argentinian Malbec. It is up there in my top faves, you guys. Not joking. I feel like there's nothing like this on our website outside of the Malbec. There's notes of dark cherry, bright raspberry, forest petals, and ink. So and that big mouthful introduces fine grained tannins, more ink, and a bright finish. This Malbec from Argentina has a touch of rusticity amongst the elegance and structure. It's one of my favorites. I have stock in that wine. I'll just say that. You know how you normally think of like Napa Valley Cabernet. For me, that Malbec is right up there with our delicious cab that comes out of Napa.
And see, that one there, I did taste a lot of the raspberry. I really did. I tasted a lot of that with the definite hints of the cherry in it. And I think that when I got that from you, I was talking because I opened up my refrigerator here in my office and I had Diet Cherry Pepsi, I had Diet Cherry Dr. Pepper, I had Cherry Coke, and it was just kind of funny when we were talking about it. I'm like going, well, this is going to fit right into my fridge. You know?
Right.
But yeah, like you said, the Malbec is probably, as you've said, the ones that I've tried, I'm going to say that it was probably in my top 2.
Yeah. So. Oh, I'm so glad. Yay. That's exciting. I'm glad you enjoyed it that much. Yeah, definitely one of those that you want to have on your table this holiday season. It is sure to please your crowd. So you want to introduce the next one, Zach? You kind of
what are we looking to serve with our Malbec?
You know, I think that with the cherry and the berries and all of that, it's going to pair right alongside all the sides that you're having with your Thanksgiving Day turkey. That's kind of where my mind went with that, is that, you know, it's going to bring out those flavors with all those delicious sides, from your stuffing to your cranberry sauce to all of those delicious things that you're going to have on your Thanksgiving table. So
cranberry sauce is exactly where I went with that too, you know. And yeah. I'm not a fan of the cranberry sauce, but you know, I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking sweet potatoes and yeah, cranberry sauce. But yeah, that's exactly where I was going with it. The next one we got here is our Estate 8.
Yes.
Or is it 8 Estate?
Estate 8. And what did you say it looked like? The bottle looked like vodka. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it almost looked like a bottle of vodka at first. I was like going, what the heck?
That is beautiful Estate 8 Sauvignon Blanc. Those grapes are grown right on our property at our winery, right in the heart of Napa. So this 2019 Sauvignon Blanc represents one of the very first wines from the One Hope Vineyard located in Napa. Consistently warm, but never scorching hot, which allowed us to pick the grapes at optimum ripeness, creating intense aromatics on the nose and grapefruit character on the palate. So this is a dry white wine. It is crisp. Food pairings alongside this one would be a baked goat cheese in a walnut crust with green apples and greens, calamari with garlic, yum, feta, seafood salad, and a simple cream of asparagus pureed soup. So I know with the holidays, you know, calamari, seafood, you know, get brought out at least in the Italian tradition. Yeah. I don't know how your family is with seafood around the holidays, but especially Christmas, we do a lot of seafood.
Yeah, we're more, you know, just the fake Thanksgiving thing, the turkey and ham and stuff like that. We don't, but now you say calamari, you got my attention. You say shrimp, you got my attention. You say any other seafood, you can go on ahead and we'll part ways there. I'm not much of a fish guy, to be honest. The only kind of I tell people all the time that, you know what, if you want my opinion on fish, it's got to be the fake fish, you know, like fish sticks. and I don't know what fish stick, what a fish stick looks like in the ocean, but they sure do taste good. So,
That's so funny.
yeah. So,
Well, you did say calamari and shrimp, and I will say my grandmother, who was Italian, would make a delicious seafood salad that contained calamari, shrimp, all the things. Yum. And that was like a staple for Christmas. So
wow.
So think seafood with this one, but also your cheeses and also your vegetables.
That all I know is it's a beautiful bottle. I do. And like I said, at first I was like going, what the hell do they have a vodka in there for? But I'm glad I was wrong. So next, it almost looks like we're getting ready for New Year's here.
Oh, you cannot complete. Yeah, you cannot complete the holiday without a bubbly, you guys. Whether you're popping it open, in the morning as you're kind of prepping brunch, appetizers, I would say that's a good time for it. You can't complete the holiday without a bubbly. So this is our hospitality collection, California Brut sparkling wine. It has tropical aromas and notes of green, apple, and pear. The palate is lively and refreshing with a crisp finish with this one. Absolutely delicious. If you like our Vintner collection, Sparkling Brut, definitely check out the hospitality. Some food pairings with this one: dried fruit and nuts. Again, we're back to the fresh seafood, and lemon cream pie. So think about your pies too. This is a nice one also on the dessert end of things, that's refreshing and bubbly and light to sip alongside your desserts.
Well, and how do they go about getting into the wine club?
So you can definitely check out the link, right, to Shaken Baby Syndrome. I don't know if you have the QR code handy, Zach. Perfect. Awesome. So
the QR code's right behind me, but I'll go on ahead and just pull up our Facebook page as well.
I love it. Perfect. So you can either type the link right into your browser that's on the bottom there, or you can open up your phone camera, hold it up to that QR code that's right there. It'll take you directly to the fundraising page. Now, with that curated wine club, you can select 4, 6, or 12 bottles. That's quarterly. The curated pack is only quarterly shipments. You will get free shipping. You'll get reward points on your purchase. 10% is going back to Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome. 10% of any purchase, you guys. So let's say, you decide to go with something else, maybe not the curated wine club. Whether it's one bottle or a full case, 10% is going back to support the cause this holiday season. So my thought is let's, sip and share and support something that's important to you this holiday.
I love it. I think it is so fantastic. I love the fact that we, I say this over and over again, and I know I sound like a broken record with it, but I love the fact that we were able to bring together two of our two loves for what we do, bring them together and put together something like this, because it's so important, and getting to know that we have things out there like Shaken Baby Syndrome. It's something that needs to be out there. I mean, the awareness is, we just got to make sure that people understand it. I sent a message out today asking people, hey, would you have any questions that I should ask? And now more than once I've got the reaction, I don't really know much about Shaken Baby Syndrome.
Right.
And it's kind of one of those things where you want to sit there and not viciously, and I don't mean this viciously, please understand that, but it's like, well, maybe this is the time you should watch this show. Okay. This might be the time that you actually take and tune in to learn something about it, because look, a lot of the other ones that we've done, the veteran ones that we've worked with, the caregiver ones, John with Martyred Angels, it's a lot of things that other people have experienced a lot of times. Shaken Baby Syndrome, you just don't realize how fragile they are. You
Right.
know, they're, and, you know, we all, as parents, it's, you can turn the most exciting moment of your life into the most tragic moment of your life just because you get frustrated. And it's so important that we remember that. And for you to be here with us and give your program a chance to work with us simply by using our little friend here, the QR code. You know, it's a wonderful wonderful program. And I just, and how much to date have you guys donated?
We just passed the $9 million mark recently, which is really exciting. I know I announced that on our last show. So to date, One Hope has donated over $9 million. Are you getting chills,
Chills.
Zach? Oh my
Chills.
gosh. To over 35,000 different nonprofit organizations. So that's truly what I love about this. You know, you can support Stop Shaken Baby Syndrome this month, you know, but let's say next month you want to support something else. You can absolutely do that. You can select any 501c3 of your choice under your account and be able to, you know, switch that up and kind of share the love around a little bit. I say that we have this incredible platform to make an impact for the causes most important to us, you know, and you bring me right back, Zach, to those previous shows. You're right, where they were supporting caregivers. And I think that that's important to bring up too, because, you know, not only the Lucas Project with supporting caregivers, but also Nancy's House. What an incredible program to give caregivers a break and have them away for a weekend, you know? So there are people out there that do want to help. And I would just say, from, you know, one parent to another, reach out a hand if you see somebody in need, like offer support, offer help, give them a break if you can, if you have the ability.
I was thrilled when I was looking through the Lucas Project the other day to see that that she was able to go on a vacation with her husband. I was so thrilled to see that the other
How
day
wonderful.
because you could tell how tired, you know, she was, and it's one of those things, you know, this is really something that kind of goes along with what we're talking about here with Shaken Baby, is that, you know, you feel guilty every once in a while that, you know, I can't just put my baby down and walk away. But the truth is, you have to.
But you can, and they're
don't,
not going to be hurt by that.
And you can. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It does not. It doesn't make you, you know, and I don't like to cuss, but I'm going to do it. It doesn't make you an asshole to put the kid down and walk away. It is better than living with the, oh my God, I hurt my child.
Right.
And look, I, you know, I remember hooking my youngest son with I tried to cast out a pole and it accidentally swung around and hit him in the shoulder. And I still hit myself for that, you know, and it didn't hurt the kid that bad. You don't want to hurt your own children. I mean, and again, we do have to bring this up. Look, this isn't there. There's no race. There's no race that does this more than others. There's no financial levels that hurt kids more than others. It's not bad people who do this all the time. These are good people who get frustrated. So put the baby down. Step aside. Make that phone call. You know, hell, get on your little phone, hit up Facebook and find, you know, look for a Shaken Baby platform. I'm sure there's one out there. As a matter of fact, you know what, Stephanie, I think that I will look for one today and we'll share some links today to just put them out there. But
I think that would be helpful for sure.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things that we would both like to do is invite anybody who's got a nonprofit to join us. All you have to do is reach out to Stephanie or myself, come on this show, and we would love to share what you do. Are you a nonprofit? Do you just kind of want to talk about what you do? Are you sick and tired of hearing, I wish I would have known about you before this happened? Come join us. Let us tell your story. You know what? Maybe not a lot of people know about it, but if 2 more hear about it, that's at least 6 more people who are going to hear about it. Those 6, you're
Right.
going to hear at least, 18. This is the best way to start spreading the word. Let's start spreading the word of these great, great causes, like, Stop Shaking Baby Syndrome. This- they're really struggling to find their place, and we need you to join us to make sure that they get this word out. These are our children that are being hurt here, and we need to make sure that we are there for them. So please help us. I'm going to put this up here one more time, but if you want to get a hold of Stop Shaking Baby Syndrome, if you have any questions, if you have anything to ask, all you have to do is go to stopsbs1@yahoo.com. Stopsbs1@yahoo.com. You can also go to their Facebook page, which is Stop Shaking Baby Syndrome. And of course, you can find all their information right here on their website. One other page, Stephanie, that I really hope that everybody looks at is this one here. It's stopshakingbabysyndrome.org. What is shaken baby syndrome? Because what it is, it's a really important page. If you look at it, there's some of the institutes that we all know, the Mayo Clinic, the neuroscience clinics and stuff like that, that give their not their versions, but what they see from the damage of shaken baby syndrome. They give what they see, and it's a realism is what it is. And I think it's important. So, but
I'm going to add one thing, Zach. If you guys are watching this far into the show, go ahead and hit the share button and share this around, because that costs
please,
absolutely nothing, and you can help spread the word and really help support what they're doing.
And you know what? We've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. Well, it's time. It's no longer coming. The holidays are here. You're looking for gift ideas? That number right below me right now, that link tree, that's a great place to get started. Okay? You go there and you can have everything you need to know about the goddess of the grape. You got her at your fingertips. She's going to be able to help talk you through and find what you need, and you're going to be able to support Stop Shaking Baby Syndrome or causes of your choice. Okay, so, and just because they haven't been on our show doesn't mean you can't support them. We would like to see you, not to drink it, not for drunk purposes, but we would love to see you continue to support we'll go every month by purchasing wine to support causes. Okay, give them all a try. What a better way than buying some wine, trying out the new club, when you can take and, well, I just wanted to try this wine, and what the hell, I was able to support this cause. I was able to stop one family from shaking their baby.
I love that. And you guys, Wine Club is a great gift that kind of covers all the holidays. It's a quarterly gift that's beautiful, and you can support along the way with each shipment too.
You also have the special wraps, the special label bottles. You have the shimmer bottles, and you have the beautiful box that's out now. Real estate agents, we know this is a big one for you. You love giving gifts. This new box, I'm telling you right now, this new box is gorgeous. I'm working on getting a box for community pay up forward, and it's going to go like right behind me. I'm going to get rid of this screen. By the way, Stephanie, I wanted to show you this.
Yeah.
Somebody brought this to me, and I thought it was just the coolest thing. But look at this. It's an old wine bottle corker.
Oh.
It no longer works, but somebody brought this to me because of what we do. I'm going to get it all polished up and shined up, and I think this is going to be a huge part of my office because of what we do. But isn't that just the neatest thing?
Wow, so cool. So cool.
Yeah,
Definitely.
so, but yeah, I mean, I was like, they were like, yeah, I was watching your show the other day, and I thought that maybe this would be perfect for, they, of course, they were like going, this might be perfect with all your other tchotchkes. And I'm like, oh God, you really do watch my show.
I love that. No, that's
If
awesome.
you're able to name off everything I have up there, yeesh. So, but, well, Stephanie, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Zach, as always, for having me
I
and
want
for
to
this partnership to be able to make a difference. Sorry, I think we had a delay there.
So, and I want to wish you and your family, your beautiful family, I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving, and all the best to you guys. And you guys are in my heart. And you guys being out east, I know that you guys aren't getting hit, but folks, let's remember upstate New York right now is getting pounded. Okay. Please reach out to the Red Cross. Please reach out to your blood drives. Please do what you can do to make sure that you're there, because they've got a lot of snow out there. Buffalo, 6 feet of snow. We have a lot of Californians that move to Colorado, and 6 inches of snow becomes living in hell here. Okay. You get a foot of snow and it's like, nuh-uh. The world is over. So, yeah. But then again, this is also the same place that now when it starts to rain, our grocery stores empty like there's nobody else who's ever going to be there. Yeah, or like everybody's going to die because it's raining. It makes no sense to me, but I'm kind of one of those guys that a lot of stuff don't make sense.
We're kind of used to it up here, but not 6 feet. So definitely stay safe.
So let's please just remember, if you have family and friends up there, you're in our thoughts. If you live up there, please stay safe. Please stay safe. And if there's anything that we can do, please contact us, 970-909-0751, 970-909-0751. I have retired my link tree. Now I've got my formycard.net. I don't know exactly if you have to put all that in there, but this has got all of my information in it. Check out formycard.net. And get your digital business card. Your digital business card will also result in the donation to a mission of your choice, because For My Card is now a business part, as one of our verified partners. So we welcome For My Card to our company. We welcome them to the mission on helping other people. Stephanie, again, my dear, thank you so very much. Happy Thanksgiving. My love to the husband and all the kids. So, but we will be right back to finish this out. I want to tell you about our next big thing, which is, well, this year's big thing, which is our 22-hour podcast. So we'll be right back to talk about that. Thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, well, I got about 20 seconds to do this. Hey, everybody. My name is Zach. I thank you very much for joining us. Please remember to love somebody out there, because somebody out here loves you. Have a great day. We'll see you next